Hello everybody. Today we're going to be going over some simple calculator tricks that will make your life a heck of a lot easier in classes like algebra and beyond. So the first one is how to get the roots of a quadratic equation. So let's just enter, say, I don't know, x minus 2 squared minus 4. Alright, so we inputted the equation into y1, and now we're going to go second, calculate, and select 0, which is number 2. So as we wait for it to graph, there it is. The first 0, so we're going to go to the left of the first intersection with the x-axis, hit enter. Now go right to find the right bound, hit enter. Guess, we don't really care about a guess, so we just press enter again. And so our first root is negative 1.48 times 10 to the negative 14th. Now that's such a small number that I would just call that 0. So then we're going to repeat the first few steps in order to get our second root. So this is an alternative to doing the quadratic formula that is a big time saver once you practice. So again, we're going to go to the left, except this time we're going to look for that root right there. Then we're going to go to the right, guess. And so our second root is 4. So there we have our answer. Our roots are where y is equal to 0, x is equal to 0, and x is equal to 4. Alright, now for our next trick. So finding intersections between equations. So say I want to find where the lines x minus 2 squared minus 4 and y is equal to x intersect. So to do that, I have to set up my two equations here. Then again, we go to second and then calc, or the trace button right here. But so now we are going to go down to the intersect button, which is 5. So I'm going to type in 5. So here we have our graph. And so we actually have two intersections. So I want to find this one over here because that one looks like it's going to be 0, 0. So let's go up over here. So on the first curve, right here, you're going to want to go to the left of the intersection, press enter. And the second curve, you're going to want to go to the right of the intersection, press enter. Guess, I don't really care about a guess. And there we have it. This intersects at the point 5, 5. X is equal to 5, y is equal to 5. Awesome. Let's go on to the next one. So now this is for finding a y value when you have an x value. So this is the vars function. So I have my equation in here, right? So now I'm given a problem, and I know that when x is equal to 4, what is y equal to? So to find that, go right here to vars, go over to yvars, click enter, function number 1. So what did I say? When x is equal to 4, what is y equal to? So make sure you put the parentheses there. Those parentheses are very important. It tells the calculator that you're evaluating at the number 4 instead of multiplying by 4. So let me press enter, and look at that, it's 0 at 4. And we can look at our graph to verify this. So we found that root right there, x is equal to 4, y was 0. And that works with any x. Alright, now let's talk about finding the mean, median, mode, quartile, standard deviation, minimum, maximum, all that good stuff in the stat function. So first we're going to go to stat, and then we're going to go to edit. So this is going to edit our list. So let's just put a few more terms in here. Actually, we're just going to clear the whole list off because I don't need to keep that. So we're going to be working in list 2. It's easier to work in list 1, and that's probably what you're going to have over on the side, but I just decided to get rid of list 2. So let's just put in a bunch of random numbers. So we have a pretty nice data set. That looks good. So now, the first thing that I want to show you how to do, and this actually isn't over on the PowerPoint, is how to order your numbers in either ascending or descending order, because that can be very helpful if you're rushed for time on a test or something like that. So we go back to stat, then we go sort A, so that's sort ascending. So we'll do that, and we'll do it for, go to second over here. So I was working in list 2, so I'm going to put in list 2, close parentheses, done. So then we go back to our list, click edit. Look at that, it's all in ascending order when it wasn't when we left. And sort D is sort descending, which I'm not a huge fan of. I prefer to have my numbers in ascending order, but you can do whatever works for you. And what I'm about to show you next, you do not have to have already done that. But so next, we're going to go quit out of that, and we're going to go to stat. We're going to go to calculate, and then one variable stats. And my list, I actually used list 2. You probably will just have used list 1. And then I don't want to have a frequency list. I could say, if you had 2 lists and one was a number and then the second one was the frequency of that number, they'd all have to be lined up next to each other so each row correlated with the previous column's value. But so I don't have a frequency list. You probably won't either. But so we can go down here to calculate, and it is going to do all this work for us. So we have the mean, we have the standard deviations, we have the number of things in our sample. We have the minimum, we have quartile 1, we have the median, we have quartile 3, we have the maximum. So that's a whole lot of information that you didn't have to evaluate by hand, and that makes that a really handy trick. So now I want to show you how to simplify fractions. So say you're given this just crazy fraction on a test, and you're wondering, well, how do I simplify this down? So what if you have like 123 over 548? So you press enter, then you go over here, and you go to the fraction button, and I actually don't know if this is going to simplify to anything simpler. Okay, it doesn't. Let me try something else. So like 33 over 99. You're like, well, what does that simplify down to? So you might see that and think a third, but you go math, then fraction, and you get a fraction out just like that. It's super nice, quick, and handy. And it really saves you a lot of work in terms of finding and boiling down fractions to their least common terms. Now I want to tell you about how you can get your calculator to evaluate imaginary numbers for you. So we're going to need to be in the a plus bi mode, and so that a is a real number, and then plus b, that's just another number, and then I. So it's b in terms of I. And I, for those of you who don't know, is the square root of -1. So first you need to make sure that your calculator is in a plus bi mode. I already turned mine on. Yours will probably be in real. So that will be highlighted in black. So you want to go up, over, press enter on that, then you can just quit out. And make sure that says a plus bi right up here where my cursor is. So now, say I want to evaluate the square root of -9. Well, when it's in real mode, it'll just tell me that I can't do it because it's not a real number. You can't take the square root of a negative number. However, when I'm in the a plus bi mode, I can take the square root of -9, and it will give me an answer in terms of I. Look at that, 3i. Now this comes in handy, especially on the ACT. There's usually 1 or 2 questions on imaginary numbers, so it's very useful to be able to make your calculator do your work for you. Now finally, the last thing I want to show you is how to see your graphs. So let's just say I have a graph that is just way out of the standard window. Or let's go, so x minus 2 squared minus like 30. So we go to graph and we just can't see the bottom. So that's no good. So we want to be able to see all of it, right? So we could go over, we could adjust the window and we could go, well, we want to go have the minimum for x be like 50 or something like that. And yes, that would work perfectly fine. Or sorry, I should have adjusted that so the minimum y was 50. Just give the calculator a second to load here. So the minimum for x, that's okay being 10. But I want to come down to the y min. So that's how far down it will go, and we'll change that to 40. So then on the graph, yep, that works. I can see pretty much what I need to see. I can see the vertex. I can see the roots. That's all good. Or I can do this handy thing. So I can go to zoom and then all the way down to right below zoom stat, zoom fit, which is 0. So you could also press 0 if you want to. I apologize, this calculator on here is a little bit laggy. And it will automatically fit the graph so you can see the x roots and so you can just see the bottom. So that's perfect for what I need. Yeah, I think that about wraps up this video. Oh, one more thing, if you need to find the vertex of a parabola, you can go to the calc function, once again like we saw earlier, and then you can go down to either minimum or maximum. So this one has a minimum, so we're going to do that. We're going to go left bound over here, right bound all the way over here. Guess, I don't care. In minimum, so it's going to be x is equal to 2, y is equal to negative 30. Alright, that wraps up today's video. Hope you enjoyed it, and I hope it helped. I will link this presentation in the description so that you guys can look back on the instructions for how to do each thing. Have a great day.